All right. What's up, everybody? And welcome to the Starving Artist Development Podcast, where we talk to Detroit's cultural artists, discussing the highs, the lows, artist development, and the cultural artists that have helped shape Detroit's originality. I am your host, Gabrielle Caruthers. Today, I do have a very special friend because everybody has been my special friend on every episode, but he really is a very good friend of mine. We go way back since the Clever Vision comedy days. And I thoroughly enjoyed working with this brother. This is the chief storyteller of Clever Vision Inc. He is a community advocate. He is a marketing maven. He has worked with major brands such as Timberland, DTLR, Adidas, and Cartier. But not only that, he is also Detroit's chief storyteller. I want to give it up for Mr. Desmond Clever Lester.
Gabby, what up, though?
Hey, Des, how are you?
Pretty good. Glad to be and honored to be on your platform.
So much. Well, first things first. I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I have been watching what you've been doing on social media here in the mom cave whenever I do have time to actually go on social media, and I see you brother, and you are still doing the damn thing, and I can appreciate that. And definitely want to one, thank you for putting on for the city. And by putting on for the city, I mean creating an opportunity for different comedians when you started the Clever Vision comedy show.
Hmm.
That was a time. I had a ball.
Thank you, man. That was a big time for me too. The Going Up comedy show. Shout out to Josh Adams. Shout out to DJ Cool Breeze. It was just a time. I was like, I could throw an event where I could have all these rappers rap, or I can have whatever, but no shade to anybody. But I'm like, I just want to make the city laugh.
That's
So
it.
like, why not do it?
That's it. And I can definitely say I thoroughly, like I said, I enjoyed my time just partnering with you on a couple of the shows. Matter of fact, I know we collaborated on one show, and it was a game show episode or something, or theme that we did one time, and that was a lot of fun. But yes, you definitely brought out the city, and there were nights where it was always jam packed, and I couldn't believe how the city could just come together, and there was peace, unity, and nobody was up in there fighting or acting ignorant. And one thing I can say about Detroit is that, when company comes around, we do know how to behave. We know how to behave. We're not all bad. So you definitely gave Detroit a new meaning to what it means to show up and show out, but definitely to show respect to the city. So I can appreciate you for putting those kind of events together every Tuesday at the Marble Bar. I definitely miss the comedy shows for sure. I definitely miss them.
Man, thank you. It was a great run. We did 6.5 years of the comedy show. We had people coming out. We went from weekly to monthly, but it was just, man, we done had people that's done been on HBO, Def Comedy Jam. We done had people that's done been on BET all over. Like, matter of fact, comedian CP did his whole set that he did on the All Def Digital Comedy Show at the Going Up Comedy Show. We had comedian Ryan Davis. Man, we had Ronnie Jordan, who's out here doing this thing, Clayton Thomas, and the list just goes on and on and on. Darius Bennett, Jeff Horace, Ron Taylor, and I'm just grateful to be able to, play the small part and have those people give them a platform to show their real talent.
Well, I mean, I can say what may seem small to you is definitely big in my book, especially watching how much time, how much money, how much work you invested in the comedy show, but not only that, how much you put back into the community. And I want to know, how did you when did you decide, like, you know what, I want to make people laugh, so I want to put together this event and let's see what happens. Like, when did the idea generate?
Okay, well, the idea was generated, and so first off, I created a platform. I started off. Let me start backtrack. I started off working in radio in 2006, and then working at WJLB. I interned, ended up getting hired. Was Dr. Darius' show producer, who helped bring his show to number one. And then I wanted to get on air, but at the time when I was trying to get on air, there were really not a whole bunch of opportunities for people like myself. And the thing about radio that's great, it's a great platform, but it's a whole lot of like people you have to get okays by in order to interview certain artists, to interview different people and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I want to be able to. I know a lot of dope people, and I hate asking for permission. Like that gets
Mm,
on my nerves. If I know an idea is dope, I done sat and thought about it. I hate to give it to somebody else that may not understand the vision and turn it down. So I created clevervision.com. We launched actually 11/11/11, and where it was a platform where we interviewed a lot of notable people, from Big Sean to Wiz Khalifa to Young Jeezy to Bob to you name it. Like a lot of people came through the platform. So I was pushing the blog. It was the blog era, so I was pushing that and pushing, the different blog stories I was posting. But I wanted to create a way that allow people to hear the name Clever Vision and not having to go to a website. And how do we
mm,
do that? Through events. And like I said, I started off wanting to do like an open mic or something like that, but all those open mics be tiring to me. Like after a while, you got 50 people talking about, yeah, I got this money, I got this, I got all the women, but I'm like, ain't no women here. Like, what are the women? Where are the women you bringing out? So I'm like, man, what's another way? And I was in the venue and I was looking around. I'm like, man, what's another way I can bring people together that's not, a rap show? And then just so happened Josh walked in, Josh Adams. I'm like, comedy. And so I asked
mm.
Josh that night, I'm like, man, I really want to do a comedy show, a weekly comedy show. Would you be willing to be the host? He's like, yeah, yeah, we can figure it out. He didn't know how serious I was. Then next thing you know, his face was on the flyer. We had a date, we had a location. And
Wow. And that was all she wrote. Well, your origin story is actually really cool because what we're doing here at the Starter Artist is kind of similar to what you're doing at Clever Vision. And um, your work is admirable. I watched several of your interviews, especially during the pandemic when you had the real conversations and you were breaking bread with just different people here in the city and outside of the city. And again, your candor and just how you interact with people and how you make people feel comfortable enough to like just open up and talk to you about things is amazing to me. So hats off to you for sure for even just being able to build that platform and to be able to tell those stories in a way that is not only authentic and you still remain true to who you are as a person, but also just having, the kahunas to say, I'm not about to ask anybody for permission to do what I need to do. I'm gonna just go ahead and make it happen. And that you did. You've always made it happen. You've always been the make it happen captain kind of person. Even when the chips were stacked against you, you were like, I'm gonna figure it out. And definitely shout out to Mama Jules too, because she was always at the comedy shows and she always, did her thing with helping out. But you brought out the community. You brought out a lot of people. And even just for me, and I don't know if you might not remember this, but I remember meeting you before in '07 when Kevin Irwin
yeah,
was
shout out to Kev.
interning. Yeah, well, he was interning for one of the radio stations, and this was right after he graduated. And we met in Southfield, and I don't know why we all went to Taco Bell or what we were doing or where we were getting, but somebody had a birthday party. I don't know. I think it was like JG or something. He was having a birthday party, and I just happened to be hanging out with Kevin and JG that night. But I met you first. I met you, and you were like real cool, real laid back, introvert or whatever. And then I ran into you again at an event, and this was like some years later. And that's when I got the flyer for Clever Vision. I was like, why does this guy look familiar? And then I remember, all right. I was like, I met this fool, and we were at Taco Bell, and I'm like, what?
Taco Bell is crazy, by the way. In 20,
Random. Just random Taco Bell trip. And that was literally your first year interning for the radio station. Because it was another guy too, LaRue, who was interning for the radio station as well. And shout out to LaRue also. Hmm?
Actually, 2007, I was actually hired. And Kevin and LaRue, they were my interns at
Wow. Okay.
LB. Yep, yep.
That's what it was. Yeah. So Kevin was interning for you and he had to go and drop off the van or something. And that's how I met you. And then LaRue and I ended up being neighbors,
Wow.
but not around the same time. We stayed in the same building like some years later. But LaRue also looked out for me when I did my coffee and trap music event, and so did Kevin and our friend Tashif too. So shout out to all of them. And
Both two real stand up guys. I haven't talked to LaRue in a minute, but I'm so proud of Kevin. Like all the stuff he's doing, from being on
yes.
Mojo in the morning to killing it with the Pistons and working with the Spartans. I'm like, when do you sleep?
When
But it's
do you? I listen. I was listening to one of his episodes today, one of his segments, and I thought about that too. I was like, when does this man sleep? Because I know he does the Saturday show too. And honestly, if it weren't for Kevin, I probably wouldn't even listen to Mojo in the morning because I stopped listening to Mojo in the morning. But he's definitely putting on for the city, and I appreciate that too. So so yeah, so we know that you are the man behind the Going Up comedy show, the Going Up on a Tuesday comedy show. But you've worked in marketing for 16 years. When did you decide that you wanted to explore marketing as a career?
well, the great thing about like working for iHeart, it was Clear Channel at the time, but working for iHeart Media, I was in studio with Dr. Darius, so I would help him come up with breaks, questions for artists, segments on the show, and all that. But with working in radio and interning, I realized that the best way to keep a position here or to make sure I get hired here is to be indispensable. So every
Mm,
department that I could work in, from engineering. I worked in engineering there, doing live broadcasts, board operator, and also I worked in our marketing department. So that's when you would see me riding around with the trucks, passing out T-shirts, going to different events, and I just realized like that. I found out that marketing and sales was what kept money coming in the building. So I learned that at an early age. So I made sure that I doubled down on making sure not only was I working on being a talent and a producer, but I was also out networking in the streets, and I met a lot of people just being out and about in the WJLB truck, or even when I went to Hot 107.5 and was riding around doing marketing for them as well. So that's how I got involved with marketing.
okay, so you definitely you use your resources and you leverage different opportunities when you were at the radio stations, which a lot of people don't think about that. And in the words of Jay-Z, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. And I can definitely attest when I say your entrepreneurial spirit, although you may have been working for a company, you weren't thinking like an employee, you were thinking like an entrepreneur, right? Like, okay, how can I make myself useful, but also how can I find other opportunities and explore other options in order for me to climb that corporate ladder so I can, get to where I need to get. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. I remember having a conversation with another gentleman. He's a journalist and a screenwriter and also a cinematographer. He goes by the name of Bryce Huffman. He's with Bill Detroit. And he mentioned as a screenwriter and as a journalist, as well as a cinematographer, when you're starting out in certain industries, sometimes the job that you want may not be the job that you actually end up taking in order to get your foot in the door. So again, what you pretty much did, you took an opportunity and you leveraged that opportunity and you kept climbing that corporate ladder, and ultimately you were able to not only secure other avenues for yourself, but you also met, amazing talent, and you were able to break bread with other people. And when you decided to venture off and build your own, uh, I will say, what's the best word? Infrastructure. When you decided to build your own infrastructure, you had that talent in your back pocket because you had already set the foundation early on when you were in marketing and working for the radio station and working as an intern. So I mean, you the man.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I want to touch back on that point you mentioned. Like, if you like, I think as creatives or people with big dreams or big ambitions, we have our story in our mind of how it's gonna work out. If I'm a rapper, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna rap for Jay-Z and he's gonna sign me. Well, that may not be that's somebody's story. That's J. Cole's story, but that may not be everybody's story. So you have to figure out a way to get in the door. Like, as long as you get in the door and you're doing something that's not dealing with your pride or against your pride or who you are as a person, get in the door. And then that's another thing, like being being faith based. I realized that you got to leave room for God. Like, you have to leave room for God. We have these grand visions or whatever. Just say, God, this is what I want to do, and in my heart, and this is the way I think to lead to that. But if there's another opportunity or you see something better, my mom always say either this God or something better, and that's
Mm.
been always been my focus.
Thank you. Thank you for also bringing that up too, because oftentimes we have our own plans, and then when we tell God our plans, He laughs, right? So to leave room to include God in whatever it is that you do, anybody that's listening, I definitely agree with that, because I know for me, even just starting this podcast was a leap of faith, right? um Venturing out and launching a new project, doing something that you're familiar with but you're also not familiar with, is a leap of faith, but also making sure that you are stewarding something that is a part of the mission, the vision, and the plan that God has for you, right? So leaving room to allow God to come in and to pretty much guide you and be a vessel throughout your journey is crucial for any artist, right? And that's very important, especially when you're building on what I call your creative discipline. It's so important to have that time and to cultivate that time with God. And I know some people may say the most high, Allah. But I know for me, I definitely believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So I agree. I definitely agree with that.
A good,
And
a good,
something else.
a good analogy that just came to me right now. Like I said, leaving room for God. Like, say back in the day, it was MapQuest. I'm telling my age. It was MapQuest. You would print it out and get the directions or whatever. Now we do that less and we rely on GPS. If I say I want
Mm,
to go to Atlanta tomorrow, I'm not looking at every step how to get there, but I'm putting in my GPS or I'm talking to God and say I'm going to Atlanta, Georgia. This is where I want to go in Atlanta, Georgia, and I allow God to align the steps. What light I got to turn at, which freeways I got to get on in order to get there. Because I've never been to Atlanta, Georgia, so I need God to instruct me on how to get there if I've never been.
hmm
So that's a
Hey.
good came to me.
Woo! Listen, we gonna have church up in here, okay? Look. I'm with it too. If listen, you already know I'm there with you. I love that, and I love that. Like I said, you don't waver not only from your creativity, but you don't waver from your faith, and that's one thing. When some people start to blow up in their creativity, they forget the person that brought them the creative juices to begin with, right? The person that implanted the seed into their mind in order to even push out these creative ideas or these creative projects or these creative endeavors. So, obviously, something has to inspire you in order for you to generate these creative ideas, right? And being born and raised in the city, how has the city helped shaped who you are as a person, but also as a brand, a storyteller?
Well, Detroit. What I love about Detroit is I look at it as a hidden gem. Yeah, we had your Fords, your Motor City. We've had Motown, but after that, in the media, like we really didn't get a lot of love. They were like kind of hard on us, and they weren't really like showing us the love that we are. Like, I honestly feel like Detroit creates some of the greatest people in the world. Like, it's unmatched. Anywhere we go in the world, we stick out because that's just what it is. It's just something about Detroit. We're genuine. Like, we're not Hollywood. We genuinely, if we rock with you, we're gonna tell you we rock with you. If we don't mess with you, we gonna let
We're
you
gonna
know.
tell you.
going over here. We don't rock with you like that. So, and I feel like the negative impression like a lot of people had on Detroit from outside. I remember I was coming from LA and I had a layover in Denver, and it was a guy in there and he was like, "Oh, where you headed to?" I'm like, "I'm headed to Detroit." He was like, "Why?" I said, cuz my bed is there, my family is there, or whatever, that's where I'm from." But I'm like, "Have you ever been to Detroit?" "No, I just heard so many things about Detroit." So I said that like we have to change the narrative, and the reason why is like that. Everybody knows about New York because you've seen so many movies for 20 years in New York. You know about all the boroughs and mad tight beat money. You all of that. When we know Cali as well, but now with the influx of Tubi and all that stuff, we're just now starting to let the world know what a pop is. Like you go out of town
Hmm.
to say pop, people are like, what you mean soda? No, I drink pop.
No, pop.
So it's just like I just want the rest of the world to see my city the way I see it. So Detroit shaped me in that way, is to be able to align and tell the stories and all the hidden gems and all the stuff that Detroit is quietly behind that we don't always get the light for. So I'm like, no, let's change that narrative. And how do you change that? By telling the stories. So that's pretty much how it came about.
That is true. Now, I don't remember this, and I don't know if you ever mentioned this, but what part of the city did you actually grow up?
Okay, so I have what you call a dual citizenship. I
Okay.
I grew up on off Joy Road, Joy and Wyoming area. I grew up over there. Then I end up moving. I end up moving to Oak Park. So I moved to Oak Park halfway through middle school. So that's why I say kind of like the dual citizenship. So, but Detroit is always is my home, and Oak Park has a special place in my heart as well. But West Side Detroit, what up though?
East Sider. So,
It's all good.
but you know what though? But it was by happenstance, and it's only because I grew up downtown, midtown, and then on Jefferson. So I guess I had to say, okay, I'm from the east side, but I didn't claim it for a very long time until as of recent. I was like, okay, I guess I'm from the east side because I was always downtown and midtown and then somewhere. Well, okay, I was on Shane too. So Shane also, yeah. So east sider. But I definitely have roots on the west side too. My parents there in Oak Park. So I got familiar with the west side and I started to fall in love with the west side as well. But now I'm kind of east west in the
Okay.
middle, but I'm not in the city, which kind of sucks. So when I do go to the city, I definitely feel the energy of the city again. But something that I can attest to that I miss about the city is I keep saying this, but like I really do mean this. I don't want the city to lose its uniqueness, right? And I'm only saying that because I know we have a lot of development popping up in the city and it's good for the city. It's a good look for the city. We need that, right? But I also don't want the city to lose its je ne sais quoi because I don't want our city to start to look like other cities.
Facts.
And one thing I can say about our city is besides the big three, the cultural arts scene has helped build the ecosystem here in Detroit. If it weren't for the automobile industry, it was definitely Detroit's music scene because we're the mecca of music. If it wasn't for music, it was because of fashion. If it wasn't because of fashion, it was because of hair. Because if anybody knows, we have a whole Detroit hair community where they do like hair competitions and stuff.
Yeah, Detroit
And
is
if it wasn't
the black hair capital of the U.S. Detroit.
yeah, we're the black hair capital, right? And then let's not, talk about the hater, now later hater gators and stuff. I mean, even Biggie mentioned it with the Detroit players and the Gators and stuff. So I mean, people know they know about us, the Cartiers, and I know that you've worked with Cartier, which is a big brand here in Detroit. That I also got this too when I was in Georgia because it was a group of us. We were down in Georgia for a family trip, and the DJ somehow he figured out we were all from Detroit, but he tried to clown us because he said we didn't have any money because we didn't have any Cartiers on.
Wow. You said we've been around it. This new to y'all, but we've been doing this for a minute. So it's just
Right.
Come on
So
now.
it's like it doesn't matter. But let's talk about that. So being the fact that, Detroit is the capital and the originator of so many things, excellent, right? Cartier being a major brand name, but also pretty much a representation of Detroit style. How was it and what was it like working with the Cartier brand?
It was dope. I actually reached or Cartier reached out to us through my guy Austin Bernard. Shout out to Nardo, who's a member of my team. We do a lot of projects together, and they wanted to tell the story of Detroit, and they were fascinated. Detroit is the highest selling market for their eyewear, like specifically Somerset. Somerset does the most numbers for their eyewear in the country. Like we literally carry them in the U.S. And they want to know like why. What is the love affair between Detroit and Cardi? And they wanted to tell authentic stories, and they know I'm respect me as a storyteller, so they reached out and I said, look, if we're going to tell the stories, we have to tell authentic stories. We're not going to tell the cuteness and whatever. It was just like, no. One of the main reasons it's such a big brand here is because we had a famed rapper by the name of Blade Icewood that helped turn it up a notch. Cardi's was already a thing we were doing here, but when he put the ice in his wood Cartier frames, it took it to a whole nother level, and it
Mm,
became iconic. And he rapped about them. Other rappers did. It was a status symbol at that point. You make money, you ain't. That's why they like, oh, where your Cardi's at? You ain't getting money or whatever. So it became a status thing. So I was able to link up with Blade Icewood's son, Little Blade, and a rapper by the name of Payroll Giovanni, and we sat down and we told that story about Blade's impact and how he made it where everybody wanted to rock the glasses. So we told that story, and then we told two other stories in the city of Detroit, and they loved it. They did an installation at Somerset. They played the videos we did at Somerset for about 3 4 weeks. They did built the whole installation in the mall, and they played it in every store across the country. So I thought that was dope.
so yeah, you're definitely the marketing maven
Mhm.
for urban wear specifically. And like I said, I'll toot your horn because watching you in action and watching you cultivate these stories, one, the Cartier story, but also I liked the interview you did for Dutch Girls.
Okay.
And I like how you captured the essence of Dutch Girl, but I also like how you you coordinated your outfit with the colors of the business.
Yeah, that.
And that sticks out. I mean, and like I said, I pay attention to that, and I've worked in marketing and branding before for Starbucks, right? For the food service accounts. And that was in 5 major markets, right? But like I said, I admire your version of storytelling for these urban fashion companies or even just small businesses or black owned businesses, not only in the city but worldwide. And when you are cultivating these stories, what is your process for storytelling? So if you're working on a campaign, like what's your process?
If I'm working on a campaign or working with a client or anybody, I have to figure out what is the thing that connects with me. What is it about this thing that drives me to it? Then once I realize what that is, I want to be able to enhance it and bottle it up in a way that highlights that very well what that thing is. And I realize we don't sell items, we sell experience, or we sell cool. Like anything that we wear or that we, if you think about an Instagram video, if you see an Instagram video and it's funny, you're gonna send it to me. You're not gonna send me a corny video because
Right.
that's a reflection of you. So you're gonna send me the best or something that made you laugh or made you feel cool. So we're selling cool. So whatever the item is, we want to make it cool. Like even with a donut shop, yeah, I'm gonna coordinate my outfit to match the colors of that to make it look fresh in a way that it appeals to the masses. Once you figure out it's cool, your ears are open and you willing to hear it out or figure out whatever it is. So it just has to have that it factor to make people tune in and want to learn more about whatever it is you talking about.
Okay. All right. So I know that you are the chief storyteller, you are the marketing maven, but you are also a community advocate. When did you decide that you wanted to give back to the community?
Giving back to the community, I first got initially into it was when I was in the eighth grade. I was working with this program called Project Push, and what they would do is take kids from the school, and they would take them to homeless shelters, or they would homeless shelters or soup kitchens, and we would interact with people that were looked at as less fortunate and whatever, and it just did something to my spirit. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed kicking it with them. I won best worker of the day the first time that I did it. I said the prayer, sat down and ate with them, and just realized like these are all people, and like a couple paychecks, my family could be without houses. I had a house fire 2003, actually to
Mhm.
this date, when our house burned down and we lost everything. And just being in a situation with a single mother, we dealt with a dirty contractor that stole money. It's just like people are people and they need chance and they need help. Like I would want somebody to help me. It's been many foundations and stuff when the house fire happened, like it happened right before Christmas. And companies and families were able to help make sure we still had a Christmas. So I'm just like, man, I want to be in a position to be able to help people that need it. And so I really enjoy doing that because not only do it enhance somebody else's opportunity, but it feels so good on my spirit. I feel like they're helping me at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely say, like I said, I've watched you give back carelessly and from the kindness of your heart and without the intention of wanting to receive anything back in return or even for clout, right? Sometimes you just give because that's genuinely what you want to do. And like I said, I see it, I recognize it, and I've recognized it over the years. And I mean, I can't thank you enough for the contribution you have made to the city as Desmond Clever Lester, right? And I mean, one, like I said, you come from this amazing human being, your mom, Mama Jules, shout out to Mama Jules, and your grandmother. Spending time with your mom on a couple of occasions, and just some of the things she has shared with me, and even just her comeback story and other things that have happened. And one thing I can say, I've noticed the trend with a lot of us Detroiters is that we are built off of resilience. And when there is a will, there is definitely a way, and we always figure it out, even when the chips are stacked against us, and when our back is against the wall, when we have nothing. We are a group of resourceful people, and you cannot keep us down for long. You can't. It's impossible, right? Um, some days are harder than others, especially when you're building something for the ground up. And like I said, even just watching you put together the comedy show, everybody sees the laughs, they see the talent, but they don't see the work that goes behind putting together these events. Can you tell me about an event that you put together where you were just like, man, I wish I could have done more, or I could have did this better, or you know, any event.
Any event, I honestly feel like that with every event that I do. And shout out to my boy Ro Design. He tell me all the time. He was like, "Man, you create all this stuff, but you don't take time to really enjoy it." And
Mm,
which I'm trying to work on and get better with that. Where once an event is done, I'm worried like, oh, what about that chair over there? Do that chair need to be there? Does this need to be there? But instead of enjoying it and accepting it, for what it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as people are enjoying it and it's a great atmosphere. But as far as a specific event that I wish could have been better, um, I don't know. We did the event for Kool Aid. We did the event for Kool Aid. So comedian Kool Aid, as you know, was a popular and one of Detroit's favorite comedians. He ended up passing due to cancer, and he was such a solid dude, like just a man of his word. Like whatever he could do to help, he would do. And what I really admire about him is that when he was dealing with cancer, he didn't want nobody to know about it. He didn't want nobody to feel sorry for him. He got found out that he had 6 months left to live, but didn't tell nobody. He didn't want anybody to treat him bad. He still was doing comedy shows. After he would leave comedy shows, he would go and do chemo and do all of these things. Like, but he wasn't a hater. He shared his platform with different people, and he would come to our show and say, "Yeah, I like what y'all are doing, but you could add X, Y, and Z, and that'll add, more to it." And I'm just like, man, was a solid dude. So in his honor, we did a mural at Baker's Keyboard Lounge. We
Mm.
did that during the pandemic. A couple years after he passed, where we had all the comedians show up. They spoke on his behalf, and I just wish that I would have had more footage of his mother's like interaction and got her talking more on camera. His mother is still alive and well and doing good, but she was very thankful and very happy that we were doing something to honor her son. But I just wish that I would have got that. If I could have did anything over more, I would have had more interaction, and then did it like how they do on Extreme Makeover when we unveiled the the mural. I wish we would have had a camera on her and a camera simultaneously seeing her reaction. But that's just a storyteller in me. But I really don't really have any really bad complaints or whatever because I try to over plan and put stuff together, and they usually turn out 75% of what's in my head.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes with anything where you create this plan, this elaborate plan, and you're like, okay, we're gonna have da 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 da, and then the day something happens, sometimes it just goes up in smoke, and you're just like, okay, well, let's just keep going, I guess, right? And
Where
I
are
can
the
definitely.
dubs? We need dubs to just fly out the sky. Where are they? There's no dubs. It ruins everything. But
No, honestly, and I can definitely attest to that. When I was working in education, I used to have to curate the dance performances or events at the school, and of course I would plan everything and everything would be set, but then the day of, children were missing, parents, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, all right, well, it is what it is. We're just going to do the best with what we have and keep it moving. So I definitely know what that feels like when you want to tell a story and you want to tell it as authentically as possible, but also with the pursuit of capturing the audience attention so that way they understand that your heart is in the right place, right? Um as a choreographer, some people just make up choreography, but for me, especially for like the last 20 years, my job now as a podcaster is to tell stories, but I've told stories through choreography, right? And I feel like if you can understand what I'm saying without me actually saying it, but you can see it through movement, then I've told my story. So to me, that is definitely, good storytelling. And even when you are using visuals, like even if you don't have the audio and you're like, I want to capture this story and I want people to know this is what's happening, even before I say something, I want you to be immersed in the experience. Um, I saw the mural, and what you did for Kool-Aid. And I don't know if I ever had the chance to tell you. And I know when we did go to his funeral, I mean, that was a moment, right? That was a moment. But the amount of respect that you had for Kool-Aid, just the mere fact that you were even like, let's put together something in order to commemorate his life and to celebrate his legacy. Um, to be so selfless in that pursuit and to continue to just give, 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 and give. I mean, I feel like you have done so much for the community, and I really hope that Detroit, or hell, even outside of Detroit, that people see the amount of work that you've done in order to put on for the city, right? And I just want to say personally, like, thank you for always being authentic in your pursuit and really just being Desmond, the Desmond that I know, the Desmond that has captured the hearts of many, and the Desmond that continues to protect and preserve the city's culture and really pioneer the city forward.
Wow, no, that really means a lot. Cause I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, me being transparent, I do everything from the kindness of my heart, but it takes for these moments to realize, like, wow, people, I'm seen, right? Because a lot of times you do stuff, keep your head down. A lot of times it goes unknown or unrecognized or whatever. Like I don't do anything for awards or anything like that, but I've never received like any type of award for like anything that I've ever done as far as just out of the kindness of my heart. But which is cool because I don't do it for that. But it does feel good for people to at least just appreciate, contributions and things that I put in the city because that's all I want. I just want us to win. I'm like, this is the greatest city in the world, greatest people in the world. Let's highlight that. Let's look out for them. Let's give back. Let's do it. We a family. We a hub.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And again, thank you for even bringing that up. I know I've had some conversations with other people in the city, and I know sometimes our feelings are conflicted about whether or not we do our best to collaborate with each other, or whether or not, some people clout chase or whatever. And know that there are still people in the city, even if everybody comes from like different, beginnings or whatever, or different backgrounds, that ultimately we do know how to come together when it comes to protecting our city, right? Sometimes it doesn't look that way, but we really do know how to come together, and we really do know how to preserve the underdog that we know as Detroit. And like you said, everybody is finally just getting hit to what Detroit is really about. And shout out to it's Moolah Films for really pushing those Tubi movies and stuff. And I know we all joke about Tubi and stuff, but that's a platform, right? And that's a platform that if it can be used, use it to tell these stories about the city and to tell them authentically, right? So I'm not mad for them for using Tubi as a stepping stone in order to show people what Detroit is about. Even some of the people that have produced movies and they're on Amazon Prime, a couple of Detroit movies that I've seen before that I was like, I'm definitely going to go out and support. I can definitely appreciate the people that continue to put on for the city and continue to propel Detroit's story forward, but also just the culture of the city, period, right? And just keeping that the richness of the city in the content. Because as Detroiters, my friend Nick Speed, mentioned before in our interview, he was like, a Detroiter, we're not afraid to be ourselves, right? You're going to get what you're going to get when you meet a Detroiter, and I know I can attest to that too. You gonna get all of me, or you ain't gonna get none of me at all. But that's a Detroiter for you, right? But that's why people love us, and that's why people respect us too, because we keep it real.
yeah, we're some of the most genuine people I feel like on this earth or whatever. Like we're going to be ourselves to the full extent. Like we gonna like whether we boastful, we gonna show you that we have so much pride not only in ourselves, what we wear in our city. Like you're gonna see Detroit hats everywhere you go. We out of town, you're gonna have the Cartiers on. You can be like, I'm from the D. What up though? What up though, my baby? Like you gonna hear it. We scream where we from and who we are. And I just wouldn't want to be born anywhere else because of how dope we are. And so what you mentioned about the storytelling, I think is definitely dope. Like Tubi, I watched the interview with the CEO of Tubi, who's actually is a white lady from Flint, and she mentioned that Detroit has the highest number of movies on Tubi. I think it's like 1,300 movies like on Tubi. Tubi should just be called Detroit because we run the platform, and I'm all for that. Like getting these stories out there, whether it's the hood movies, the comedies, or inspirational documentaries. Like whatever we got to do, we need to keep creating more and more storytellers to tell the many different narratives of the city of Detroit because it's not just one narrative. It's a hub, and it's all different people, all different walks of life.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people may not know this too, but we also have an Amazon audio distribution center here in Grand Haven, Michigan. It is under the name, I think it's Bright Light or something. I feel like I'm saying the wrong name, but they're in affiliation and in partnership with Amazon.
Mm,
So even if you're a storyteller and you may not want to do, video content, but you're like, you know what, I can lock down the audio content. Grand Haven, Michigan, you can still, capture your stories in audiobook form.
mm-hmm.
So if we ain't got Tubi, we got the other audiobook publishing company here in Grand Haven. So if anybody wants to know that, you can definitely Google Amazon Audible Distribution Center in Grand Haven, Michigan, and the name will definitely pull up. But I feel like it's like bright something, but here nor there. So one more question. If you could impart any wisdom on any inspiring storyteller, what would you tell them?
I would tell any storyteller that your viewpoint is one in a trillion. Like your point of view and what shaped you to be who you are, your different life experiences. Did it? You cut off? You okay? Yeah, your different your I would tell any aspiring storyteller that your viewpoint is one in a trillion. Who you are, the different walks in life, where you went to school at, the house you grew up in, like it shaped your eye and who you are. And you have a unique perspective. So don't ever fade away from your perspective. You can have other people's opinion, but tell the stories that resonate with you and to be proud and be bold and take risk. And if somebody don't get the vision right away, when you telling the story, and like you can't share your ideas with everybody because not everybody has a grand vision just like you do.
Mm.
So continuing to do it and polish your things as much as you can, write things down so you're going to be able to show people that need to see them later on. And yeah, do the damn thing, tell the story whatever way you can and how. I know that
And
was
where
all
can
over
we?
the place, but that came from my.
No, it's perfect. Well, where can we find you on social media?
Man, you can find me on social media. Everything is Clever the Great. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Desmond Clever Lester. You can find me there. I got a lot of stuff coming too. I'm expanding my storytelling ability with doing like full features. I have a series I've been writing. I've been in my writing bag. I'm gonna have to come back and tell you about that. I have a new integration to Clever Vision, which is Tags Media. That's my the new film company that we're working on, and I have a documentary that's in pre-production right now. That's about to be fired. I'm gonna have to come back and share that with you.
Well, listen, when we do our roundtable, definitely, I'm excited. And please keep us in the loop because the audience definitely wants to know what everybody is doing and what they're working on. And plus, this is the way that we continue to build our city and build our people up in the city too. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Starving Artist Development Podcast. Well, that is the end of today's episode. If you would like to reach out to us, you can shoot us an email at info@starvingartistdevelopment.com. You can also visit our website at www.starvingartistdevelopment.com. Make sure you subscribe to our show on YouTube. We need everybody to subscribe. Just look us up at Starving Artist Development Project. You can also like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. And you can also listen to the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I would like to thank everybody for tuning in today. And I would also like to thank you, Des, for sitting down and breaking bread with me. And I look forward to our round table because I cannot wait to hear about your up and coming projects. All right. I will talk to everybody, all of you. I'll talk to all of you soon. Bye.